In today's fast-paced digital world, clarity is currency. Visualizing complex workflows is no longer optional, it's a critical necessity. That is why we turn to BPMN, the global standard for business process modeling. BPMN symbols can overwhelm professionals, yet events drive every process diagram. Start, intermediate, and end events turn sketches into executable blueprints. This video clarifies essential concepts for analysts and managers to create universally understood diagrams. Before we dive into symbols, we must understand that events are the triggers and results that drive the entire machine. They are the moments where the process pauses, reacts, or concludes. Events are not static shapes, but active moments that cause the workflow to shift direction or pause for external input, fundamentally altering the journey. Unlike tasks, which are rectangles, every event is universally represented by a circle, signaling a distinct occurrence rather than an action being performed. Every event carries a specific purpose, either acting as a trigger that starts a sequence or a result that concludes a specific path within the system. Imagine a river. It must have a source, a journey, and a destination. BPMN categorizes these moments into 3 distinct structural pillars based on their position. The start events mark the absolute beginning of a process, distinguished by a single thin border that signals the first step of the entire journey. Occurring between the start and finish, the intermediate events represent delays or messages, visually identified by a double-line border that suggests a pause in motion. The end events signify the conclusion of a process or a specific path, marked by a thick, bold border that visually anchors the end of the workflow. The magic of BPMN lies in the subtle icon inside the circle, which tells us whether the process is waiting for something or creating something new. When the inner icon is an empty outline, the process is passive, effectively pausing to catch an external event before it can proceed further. A filled icon indicates an active state where the process generates an event, such as sending a message or triggering a timer as a direct result of work. Understanding this distinction prevents confusion, ensuring you know exactly when the system is listening for input versus when it is broadcasting an output. Not all events stop the show. Some allow the process to continue running in parallel, while others demand an immediate halt to the current activity. A dashed border on an intermediate event signals that the process continues its current task while simultaneously reacting to this new event in the background. A solid double-line border indicates a critical stop, forcing the current task to terminate immediately so the process can handle the new urgent event. Choosing the correct border style is crucial for modeling real-world scenarios where some delays are ignored while others require immediate attention and action. Now that we understand the structure, let's look at the specific icons that bring these events to life in your daily business scenarios. These icons represent communication, such as receiving an email or a customer order, acting as the bridge between different processes or external actors. Time-based triggers are essential for deadlines and cycles, ensuring the process wakes up or triggers at a specific date, time, or duration interval. When things go wrong, error events catch system failures or invalid data, allowing the process to handle exceptions gracefully rather than crashing completely. Beyond simple messages and timers, we have powerful tools for broadcasting information and managing emergency exits within complex organizational structures. Signals act like a broadcast tower, sending a message that can be heard by multiple processes simultaneously, such as a company-wide holiday announcement. This is the ultimate stop button, immediately killing all active paths in a process, reserved for critical situations like emergency shutdowns or system failures. Using these advanced events allows you to model complex, real-world scenarios where global signals or immediate termination are necessary for safety and efficiency. You do not need to memorize every symbol today. Instead, focus on a strategic approach to learning that builds confidence and competence step by step. Begin by mastering just 4 core events: the basic start, the basic end, the message, and the timer to build a solid foundation. Avoid the temptation to use every symbol at once. Stick to the basics until you feel comfortable with the flow logic. Always use the correct border styles for start, intermediate, and end events to ensure your diagrams remain standard compliant and professional. Before placing any event, ask yourself if it is a necessary trigger or just a state change, ensuring every symbol adds value to the story. If an event is just a state change without a trigger, a simple in event is usually sufficient and keeps the diagram clean. Understanding the intent behind each event prevents clutter and ensures the diagram tells a clear, logical story to all stakeholders. Even the most skilled analyst can stumble if they place a symbol in the wrong context. Let's look at the strict rules that govern where events belong. True mastery comes not from rote memorization of icons, but from understanding the underlying logic of how a process moves from start to finish. By strictly categorizing events into start, intermediate, and end, you create a mental framework that makes learning new symbols much easier and intuitive. Recognizing the difference between waiting for an event and creating one allows you to build diagrams that accurately reflect the direction of information flow. When you focus on flow logic, your diagrams transform from technical sketches into compelling narratives that clearly explain how work actually gets done. The ultimate goal of BPMN is not just technical accuracy, but effective communication between the technical teams and the business stakeholders who rely on these processes. A well-constructed diagram, using standard events, ensures that everyone, from developers to executives, sees the process in the same light without ambiguity. Clear event definitions prevent miscommunication, ensuring that the technical implementation matches the business expectations for how the workflow should behave. When the language is clear, teams can identify bottlenecks and optimize workflows faster, leading to tangible improvements in organizational efficiency and speed. While the logic is timeless, modern tools can accelerate your learning curve and simplify the modeling process for even the most complex scenarios. New AI tools can automatically translate plain English narratives into standard compliant BPMN layouts, allowing you to focus on logic rather than drawing. Advanced modeling platforms offer animation and simulation features, letting you test your event logic in a virtual environment before deploying it live. Modern software abstracts away the complexity of notation, providing intuitive interfaces that help non-technical stakeholders participate in the modeling process. Thank you for joining this journey into BPMN Events. With these tools, you are ready to transform complexity into clarity and drive real business value.